All right. I'm going to go to a few last tweets and then we'll call it a night because I can't not talk about crazy stuff that the transformed wife has said recently. I figured, let me start with this one that she tweeted. Again, this is one of your abstinence, purity culture type of grandmas. Governor Newsom is forcing Christian schools to accept biological males into women's sports or they will be kicked out of, I can't remember what CIF stands for. Some Christian schools will now drop athletics completely. My children were in a small Christian high school, and my sons played baseball and basketball all the way through. It was one of their fondest memories in high school. It was one of ours, too. One of my sons even went to the state championships in basketball and played in the big Arco Stadium in Sacramento. Sports was good for them, and they learned many valuable lessons. This will destroy athletics as we know them. It's heartbreaking. Listen, I don't know what Gavin Newsom did in California regarding this particular law. I think the idea is if they're participating in a state-sponsored postseason playoff run, something like that, then you have to accept trans students on the team under whatever conditions the league decides to put there. And if some Christian schools decide they're not going to play at all, that's on them. I don't know why she's blaming the state for that. I don't know why Christian schools feel the obligation to participate in a state-run event. I thought the whole point of private schools was that you don't have to do that. But I know why they do it. They do it because all the competition is taking place in the public schools. And if they just stuck to their Christian leagues, it wouldn't be fun. But here's the thing. If the argument she's making in the first paragraph here is that he's allowing trans students to play high school sports, Gavin Newsom is, if he's allowing trans students to play high school sports, she's very upset about this. But then look at what she says in the next paragraph. Like, my kids played sports and it was a great memory for them. It was the parents' memory too. My son got to play at the state championships and they learned valuable lessons. Those are the arguments for why we should allow trans kids to play sports in high school. Because it's really not about who wins and who loses. It's about the experience. They're not professionals. They just want to play the damn game. So everything she is saying in that middle paragraph, she's making a case for why trans people should be able to play sports because of all those memories. Because guess what? Winning isn't the only thing that matters at that level for sure. And then she's mad because that's exactly what the governor is doing. And she doesn't like it because, I don't know, trans cooties or something. That's what she's worried about. Who knows? One person points out here, I'm going to show this, is the transformed wife actually paying for access to long tweets? The answer is, I believe so, yeah. She is paying Elon for the ability to write these glorious essays for her fan. Let me get to the next long tweet by her. This one is much more offensive. What to do about a husband who is verbally abusive? Every time he says something cruel to you, put up your shield of faith in front of you and ping. I can't even say it with a straight face. Ping those cruel comments straight up to the Lord. Like that. Just deflect the cruelty away. Don't allow him to steal your joy. For the joy of the Lord is your strength. Remember that a soft answer turns away wrath. Yeah, Find a godly older woman who you can meet with on a regular basis to encourage you and give you wisdom. You can do all things through Jesus, yada, yada, yada. What else? This is a spiritual battle. Listen, if you have an abusive spouse and the answer you are getting is just do this and deflect the bad things they say to you to God. One, I feel like that would be mean to God. But also, that's not how. What do you actually do in the moment? What, you take the abuse? That's horrible advice. What if it's physical abuse? Because her advice is not any different when it comes to physical abuse. And this is the problem with this fundamentalist Christian mindset that says, listen, once you're married, you're joined for life. Nothing can stop that from happening, which is basically it allows abuse to thrive because those guys, usually guys, know that the women can't leave. So the abuse, it festers up in that world. It's really disturbing. If your answer is that a soft answer turns away wrath, sorry, that is not how abuse is resolved. You need a therapist or you need a divorce if you can't settle these issues. But this idea that, oh, what do you do about a husband who's verbally abusive? Her answer is take it, deal with it. That is horrible, harmful advice, really disturbing advice. Let me go to one more from her. Then I swear I'm done with her. Oh, yes, along the same lines here. Young women, only have sex with a godly man who has committed his life to you after he has said, I do. This is the only safe place to have sex and babies. It's God's perfect plan for you. Like, I disagree with the wait to have sex until after marriage thing. I think that's just bad advice, but that's an opinion. I don't really care if she says you should wait until after marriage to have sex. Okay, fine. But the next line, this is the only safe place to have sex. One, no, it is possible to be safe with someone, you love or you're comfortable with before marriage. And also, going back to the last tweet, as she just pointed out, it is very possible that in a marriage, it's not safe because not everything that occurs during marriage is going to work out perfectly. So, this idea that if you just get married to a Christian and you don't have sex until after marriage, if you do all those things, then everything will always be fine is just flat out untrue. And if she ever spoke to women outside her Christian bubble, maybe she would know that, but she never does. Like, again, this goes back to the girl defined bad advice thing, too, because this is the same garbage that they tell their young audience. And it's deeply, deeply harmful because it tells women that as long as you do part one, part two is guaranteed to follow. And when that doesn't happen in practice, a lot of those women think, I did something wrong. I must have failed him. And not that, no, maybe the other person is the problem here. Maybe this type of sex is not safe. Maybe it is abusive in some way. So again, this is so messed up. I got one more tweet. It's not from her. It's just a really weird thing. This is from a pastor. Last thing we're going to talk about here. This is from a pastor, Nate Schloman. Just read this and enjoy this with me. I truly do feel bad for any Christian man who doesn't have other Christian men in their life to call them gay from time to time when appropriate. Seek out brotherhood. It sustains you during tough times and keeps you grounded in good times. Hey, fellas, do you have someone in your life who calls you a homosexual from time to time because you need a friend like that? Like, what the hell is up with this dude's friends? And they think male bonding is when someone else says, dude, you're acting gay. This is the level of maturity he's at, which I think is like third grade potty humor at this point. Very strange. And also, hey, there's your Christian advice column for the week. Girl defined, transformed wife, and that weird pastor who thinks getting called gay is a sign of progress or something like that, if your buddies do it in a slur sort of way.